Breaking news coming in from Iran. Iranian state media have reported that Iran's armed forces Chief of Staff Major General Abdolrahim Mousavi has been killed in the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Tehran. The announcement comes amid a wave of unprecedented attacks that also claimed the life of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and other senior officials. Mousavi had led Iran's military since June 2025 when he was appointed following the death of his predecessor. The death marks another major blow to Iran's military leadership as tensions continue to escalate in the region. Now we welcome Mr. Colin Jong-Yu-Keith. He's joining us live from Malaysia. Thank you very much, Mr. Collins, for staying with us. Now, do you think the rest of the region will be driven to this conflict, regardless of if they want or not, like Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and yes, the other Middle Eastern countries over there?
Yes, we've seen how even before this war started yesterday, and of course these U.S.-friendly states in the Gulf region, including Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, have indicated that they will not support any kind of war over Iran, and they have made their stance clear to both sides. And but of course, we have seen how the retaliations by the Iranians in terms of these drone attacks over the UAE, over Bahrain and Qatar. As other analysts have pointed out that this remains a miscalculation on the part of Iran, because they have already stated that they will not provide any support to the U.S. forces in terms of this conflict over Iran. But by targeting them, over and using drones and other means, this eventually will give further rooms and legitimacy and pretext to these powers for retaliation, or even in drawing them closer to the U.S. in terms of supporting the U.S. actions over Iran. And of course, we have seen how so far the retaliations have been quite limited, and of course they have been quite calibrated on the part of the Iranian regime. And of course, we won't know how this will turn out for today or tomorrow. President Trump has repeatedly warned the RGC to stand down, and if they fail to do so, of course, President Trump has further options to hit them harder. And of course, as I've stated, there will still have rooms for de-escalations. And of course, also now the focus will be very much on how the RGC will respond to this in terms of the retaliations, in terms of how hard they will hit the U.S. bases, or they will hit U.S. proxies in the region, including the Gulf states, including also on whether they will increase their attacks on Bahrain or Qatar, the UAE, starting from today, and how, of course, how they will attack the U.S. bases harder, and whether it will involve further U.S. casualties on the ground. And this would then be used as a legitimate ground for President Trump and the commanders on the ground to hit back stronger, and then we will see this vicious cycle of escalations down the road. And for now, it's still very much in a managed situation, but it's still very volatile, and as it goes within the hours. And of course, hopes are high from of course, we have seen how the condemnation from different powers, especially from China and Russia, and from other powers throughout the world. But still, despite all the tensions on the ground, I would still argue that the room for de-escalation still persists. And depending on the counter-strike intent and the messaging and narrative trying to be sent by the RGC and of course by the current regime, and how this will also be interpreted by President Trump, and then we will see how this will turn out. But for now, it is still very much in a phase of a managed and a calibrated response system by both sides. And we hope that this will continue to be this case, as especially for today and tomorrow, to avoid these further escalations down the road.
Yes, we will be behind that. Thank you very much, Mr. Collins, for sharing that. We have another breaking news coming in from U.S. U.S. Secretary of State